The pitch to Stanton, swung on, and drilled deep to left field. There it goes! See ya! He put it into orbit!
It is gone!
Last night, in many ways, was a tale of two Yankees teams, much like the entire season has been. The offense struggled early. They weren't doing much against Pivetta, who is not a great pitcher. He's had some ups and downs this season, but he really has no business shutting down the Yankees. The Yankees, though, refused to die. They had some good defense. Aaron Judge took away a potential 2-run home run. They had some tough at-bats. Brett Gardner worked a couple of good at-bats last night. And then, with the bases loaded in the 8th inning, Giancarlo Stanton changes the entire outlook on the rest of the season. Not only do you pull even with Boston at the top of the wild card race, but you prove to them that you can win a big game in their house, come back on them late. And look, I've been as hard on Giancarlo Stanton as anyone because the amount of money that the Yankees are paying this guy, he was not on the field for basically 2 years. Now, part of that was the COVID season where it was kind of a shortened season anyway. But last fall, he comes back in the playoffs, and he essentially puts the Yankees on his back. He was unstoppable in the playoffs. And look, Giancarlo has been streaky his entire career. Even that 59 home run season, he wasn't red hot until about halfway through the season, and then he just absolutely caught fire. I think he had 18 home runs in August that year. He's a guy that, when you get him going, he's incredibly difficult to slow down. That's why I think he needs to be in the lineup every game for the rest of the season. His health be damned. I think he will stay healthy. I think he's got too much adrenaline right now. I feel like he's going to be indestructible. And the way he's swinging the bat, that's 8 RBIs in the first 2 games of this series. He's got a legitimate shot at 100 RBIs again. He's got 33 home runs. The man got off to a slow start this season, too. He's really turned it on. He's been a major factor in the second half run that the Yankees have had. He was a big part of the win streak. He was a big part of the Yankees turning it around a little bit in their first hot stretch of the season in May. Giancarlo Stanton is earning his pinstripes. You know what? That's the wrong way to say that. In my opinion, Giancarlo already earned his pinstripes last year in the playoffs. Now he's just solidifying himself as a clutch performer. And I'm sure if he gets cold again, or if he gets off to a slow start in April next year, a lot of fans are going to be down on Giancarlo, but not me. I am finished with that. Giancarlo Stanton has earned his respect from me. The man has come up big time and time again. He's stayed on the field this year, minus that one brief calf injury. And I have no doubt that if the Yankees can go deep into the playoffs, Giancarlo Stanton is going to be a major factor. One guy that needs to not be overlooked is Luis Severino. He has pitched 4 scoreless innings over 2 outings since he's come back, and I've been nothing but impressed by how good he's looked. Not only the fastball velocity creeping up, we saw 98 miles an hour last night, but he's had good command. He's had that same kind of energy that we've seen on the mound from him in the past, where he gets excited and pumped up after a big out. We've seen a lot of good changeups from him in addition to his good slider. I don't remember his changeup being as deadly as it's looked so far. You might remember early on this year there was a lot of attention paid to how many changeups the Yankees were throwing. Corey Kluber had vastly upped the amount of changeups he had thrown from the past. Garrett Cole has thrown a lot more changeups this year than he had in the past. And it appears that Luis Severino, even out of the bullpen, is relying on that changeup. Now, typically when pitchers come in out of the bullpen, they go with their 2 best pitches. You know, if it's a fastball, slider, those are the pitches you're going to see. Fastball to get ahead, slider to get the outs. But Severino's got 3 pitches he can get you out on. He's got that high-octane fastball, he's got the deadly slider, and he's using that changeup to get outs. And because he's got a fresh arm, he's only thrown 4 innings this year, not counting the minor league rehab outings. He's still getting better. He's getting stronger. he can be an enormous factor going into the playoffs. Do you remember last year in the playoffs how frustrating it was to watch the Rays relievers come in and seemingly just shut the Yankees down inning after inning after inning? Well, the Yankees have a few of those guys now that can be shut down relievers. We haven't really seen much of Domingo Germán lately, but he's a guy that out of the bullpen, he's also got that deadly changeup, a high 90s fastball with movement, and a good breaking ball. We know about his awesome curveball. Jonathan Loaizaga should be back this week. And Luis Severino. Now, I'm not saying the Yankees are going to win the World Series because I still think that fundamentally there are some issues with this team. They hit into too many double plays. They strike out too much. But if you've got a strong bullpen, an extraordinarily strong bullpen, and you get solid starting pitching, it can really swing a short series. So I remain hopeful that the Yankees can do some damage, and if they get by the wild card round against Chris Sale, all bets are off, baby. I feel like I constantly have to remind people that Jordan Montgomery, who's pitching tonight's game, Sunday night's game, is an excellent pitcher. Despite his record being only 6-6 this season, he's got a 3.55 ERA. That's really good. 28 starts. He takes the ball. 3.7 wins above replacement. 149 and 2/3 innings, 155 strikeouts. His whip is a little high. Walks and hits per innings pitched is 1.236. There are times when he gets hit hard, but for the most part, he's been pretty consistent. He does throw a bit too many wild pitches, and that's a product of throwing too many curveballs in the dirt and not typically having a great catcher back there. Let's be 100% honest. But Jordan Montgomery has been really solid, just really solid. I keep telling people that he's having a better season at age 28 than Andy Pettitte did. And I hear people saying that, oh, we should get this guy, we should get that guy, and they're listing out their rotation for next year. And they always leave Jordan Montgomery out of it. They always do. But Jordan Montgomery has earned, I think, a little bit more of our respect by the way he's pitched this season. Baseball Savant is probably one of my favorite websites. And if you go there and look at Jordan Montgomery's stat ratings, his StatCast ratings versus other pitchers in the major leagues, you'll see that his fastball velocity isn't that impressive. It's only in the 20th percentile. His fastball spin is only slightly above average 53rd percentile. Same with his curveball spin. But he gets guys to chase. He's in the 88th percentile of chase rate. He's in the 74th percentile of whiff percentage. His average exit velocity is in the 79th percentile. His average hard hit percentage is in the 75th percentile. He keeps the ball off the barrel of the bat. Jordan Montgomery is your prototypical crafty lefty. He's not going to blow it by you most of the time. He's not a guy who's going to rush it up there like Carlos Rodon or Robbie Ray. He just doesn't throw 98 miles an hour. He's going to be 92 to 94 on a good day with a good hook. But that's very valuable from a left-handed pitcher. The Yankees play in a stadium where you need left-handed hitters, for sure. But you also need left-handed pitchers, guys who can force you to hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. Because Jordan Montgomery gets a lot of soft contact from the left side, he's going to keep the ball in the ballpark at Yankee Stadium. He's allowed just 16 home runs this year. And there's a lot of different ways that you can be successful as a team. You can put up a lot of runs, but you can also prevent runs. You can keep the ball in the ballpark. I think that he's only going to get better as he matures as a pitcher, as he learns the hitter's tendencies, as he picks up new tricks from other pitchers, starts to cut the ball a little bit more. I'm sure that he'll work with guys like Andy Pettitte in spring training to pick up things here or there. If Jordan Montgomery stays healthy, and he should, he's a big guy, he just already had his elbow rebuilt, he should be good to go for a while. He really could be a guy that sticks around for a decade with the Yankees and just becomes old reliable. That's what I'm predicting from Jordan Montgomery over the next few years. I think he's going to be one of the Yankees' most reliable starters. I don't think he's a guy that's going to win 20 games, but I think he could probably win 15 games if he got a little bit more run support. Jordan Montgomery, there's a reason that he's one of my favorite pitchers. I just love consistency, reliability, and guys who are not afraid out there. The Yankees got some more positive news. Jameson Taillon appears to be headed back. He should arrive back during the Toronto Blue Jays series. Same with Jonathan Loaizaga. I'm telling you, the pitching staff is getting strong at the right time. In the playoffs, you win with good pitching. Good pitching beats good hitting. And Jameson Taillon has been really good this year. At times, he's had some rough streaks. He got off to a bit of a rough start. I can't blame him. He hadn't pitched in a couple of years. He was basically throwing high fastballs and then a breaking ball in the dirt. It took a mid-season adjustment to his pitching repertoire. Not really his repertoire, but his pitch sequencing. What pitches he would go to. Started throwing the changeup more. Started throwing a little bit more of a slider/cutter. And he's looked really good. I thought he wore down a little bit at the end of August, and I think that this ankle injury that's cost him the last couple of weeks might be a blessing in disguise. Might be a chance for his arm to get a little bit of rest, because he's been basically answering the bell all season long. He's been one of the Yankees' most reliable pitchers. I think he's going to be back with the Yankees next season. And at the very least, he gives you a chance to insert into the rotation wherever you need to, in order to ensure that Gerrit Cole pitches in that wild card game on regular rest. You don't want him going on 3 days rest. You don't want to have to use him in that Rays series to secure home field advantage in the wild card. Now look, you want home field advantage in that wild card game because, Boston, despite the fact that you've won there the last 2 nights, it's going to be a tough place to win a 1-game wild card against a pumped up Chris Sale. By the way, how interesting is it that the Red Sox are holding Chris Sale back and preventing the Yankees from seeing him? But I think the Yankees would much rather play at home. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And Gerrit Cole being pumped up with that Yankees crowd behind him in the playoffs for the first time, that could be one of those special nights where he strikes out, 10, 12, 15 guys. That's going to be an incredible, incredible evening if it goes the Yankees' way. But of course, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. We've got to get there first. I'm anxious to see what Jameson Taillon can offer. I don't see him being a major factor in the playoffs, just because he's missed so much time recently. But you never know. If he comes back and he pitches well, it could be a situation where you slot him in against the Rays if you get to the ALDS. It's going to just be a play-it-by-ear situation. And despite having the best record in the American League, the Rays don't really scare me that much. I think the Yankees have seen enough of the Rays that they can beat the Rays. I like the ability of the Yankees to take one of the 2 in Tampa, which would effectively snatch home field advantage from the Rays, because then you just have to win your 2 games at home, and you're home free, baby. You go on to the ALCS. I can't believe we're even talking about this team going to the ALCS after those 2 games against Cleveland. How many times this season have the Yankees looked like their season was over? How many white flags have they put up? And yet they still have a chance. This has not been the path that we wanted the Yankees to go. It's more fun when you run away with it and you win the division and you have that first round bye and you can set up your rotation and make a really strong run in the playoffs. But it's also a lot of fun when people count you out and you find a way to get that momentum going and turn it up at the right time. Thank you to Giancarlo Stanton last night for the big swing that kind of shifted momentum in this series and put the Yankees on the verge of a sweep. This is going to be a fun final 7 games. I'll see you after the game tonight for the recap. It is on Sunday Night Baseball. Should be a good one.